moving quickly, another handoff to Rankin. Rankin finds a hole, he's at the 30, makes it to the 20, he's got one man to beat. Rankin walks into the end zone. Into the backfield, Braden Wright looks over top, he's going to try to find a man, he's got Alec Tatum. Tatum bobbles it, but he's in the end zone. What a connection between Braden Wright and Alec Tatum. Handoff to Rankin, Rankin right up the middle, and he's in the end zone for a Bearcat touchdown.
That the views expressed in today's show do not reflect the views of KZLX, KNWT, or Northwest Missouri State University. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Into the weekend sports kickoff here on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinik, Nolan Brooks, Austin McNorton with you. First thing, Andrew, we're going to get to Bearcat sports, but I do got to mention the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl.
It's about time.
Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Our Cowboys fans can
next. You know what? Honestly, congratulations.
Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Cowboys have a new coach. New beginnings all around. Am I right, fellas? New beginnings all around.
It's not the beginning I wanted, but yes. Congratulations, 50 years.
Don't worry.
Deserved.
We won't talk about it now. We are going to talk about it for like a while later. First, Nebraska Kearney had their basketball Super Bowl last night as they came in, Bearcat Arena. The Lopers, the number 3 team in the MIAA this year, just a couple MIAA losses, and came in. The only time they're guaranteed to see Northwest this year may match up later in the MIAA tournament, but in terms of regular season play, this was the one matchup between these two teams. And Nebraska Kearney came in, started sluggish. Northwest jumped up to, I think it was a 19-point lead early in the first half, and then by halftime, the Lopers cut it down to 7, and by the end of the game had an opportunity to take it to overtime. But it was a Nebraska Kearney team that's a dangerous MIAA team, and they came in and were ready to play against the Northwest men's basketball team.
That's kind of going to be the story throughout the entire season. And I know when Sam and I were on the call last night, you are going to get every single team's best. Everyone knows that you are the defending national champions. Everyone knows you're the number 2 team in the nation, that you've won this conference so many years in a row. You're going to get every team's best no matter what. And really for Northwest, you've got to start to hit free throws. That was the problem last night. They couldn't put it away at the free throw line. They allowed Kearney to hang around. And at home, where Northwest is just so used to winning, they weren't able to close it out. Kearney had 2 good looks to send that game into overtime.
Well, there was a ton of nervous energy in that arena.
100%.
Is Northwest jumped out.
The crowd could never really get into it.
Northwest jumped out to the early lead, and the crowd's like, okay, this is normal. This is what's going to happen, and they kind of checked out. And then Kearney, it wasn't this burst back. It was this slow progression back into the game. And then in the second half, there never really was that 8-0 run that got it back to tied or down a possession, but it was between 4 and 8 the entire second half. But Kearney did an unbelievable job all night long hitting tough shots, but every time Northwest gave the Bearcat fans something to get up, get in, and you've seen Northwest, they're intelligent fans. They know when, okay, we need to get up. We need to be a little bit louder here. We need to get these guys to go. Every time they did that, you were in a situation where you'd come down and it was quick. It wasn't a 20-second possession Kearney would take to score. It was they'd come down, first good shot they'd take it, they'd hit it, and then everyone sat back down.
And I know we talked about free throws, but this is a team in Northwest that came in shooting just over 80%, 81% from the free throw line. 265 free throws made at the end of this game, which is good for 4th in the MIAA, and you shoot less than 50% from the free throw line. I'm sure that's something Ben McCollum is going to be working on in practice. They're going to want to take as much time at the free throw line because those should be easy points. I know Jacob, Austin, Nolan, and I were all basketball players at some point in our careers, and those are easy points that you work on every single practice, regardless of if it's a physical practice, a mental focus practice. Hitting those free throws
What do you do
crucial.
at the end of every practice? Hit
you
at
shoot
least 10 free throws.
Yeah, you shoot 10 free throws. Exactly.
Well, and something else that I kind of noticed that this team really struggled with was the turnovers last night. 6 turnovers, or not 6, I'm sorry, 5 turnovers for Diego Bernard, 3 for Trevor Hudgens. And you saw a lot of forced play. There were definitely some, you had a couple carry calls on Diego Bernard almost back-to-back.
They were.
Yep. Exactly. So it's just, there were a lot of little things that they needed to kind of work on, and you can attest it to the energy in that building. Because if you were you guys were all there. I mean, it was very, very tense the whole time. And, I mean, it
Credit
wasn't
to
as
Carney.
tense when it was a 19-point game. But then when they finished that 13-1 run right there at the end of the first half, then it kind of set in. It's like, whoa, wait. Oh, maybe UNK's not out of this yet. Like, we kind of have to keep playing this game. Then the second half, it just got even closer, and UNK had even more momentum. And I know that at one point it was like a 6-point game, and you're like, all right, this is where they pull ahead. But it just kept inching back and forth, literally down to the final shot for UNK.
And I know Austin and I talked about this. You go back, you just look at this whole game. It's your one opportunity at Northwest, but you come to Maryville, Nebraska Kearney. Their schedule up till this point, it hasn't been the toughest in the world. They've had some tough games. You played some tough opponents, but you haven't seen a team like Northwest this year. Defending national champion. Sometimes you can come in and get shell-shocked real quick. Yeah, you've seen them on film. Yeah, you played them last year, but this is a much different team than the Joey Wittis team from last year. I still think they're trying to find that full replacement for Joey Wittis right now, who's going to step up in that role and be that guy down the stretch. Because Trevor Hudgens last night, he'd been playing lights out for the last couple weeks, and it kind of hit a brick wall last night. Didn't shoot great, and he just kind of let Ryan Hawkins do his thing. But you can't play the level Trevor Hudgens is playing at. You can't play that way forever. So I don't think there's anything to worry there. But Kearney came in, got shell-shocked in the first 5 minutes, just got blitzed, and then calmed down, started playing their brand of basketball, and then just slowly crept back into the game. And you could tell by the end of it, they thought they had a chance to win. And I was up there and watching their head coach as well. He did a phenomenal job keeping that team engaged when they were down 19 early, keeping them ready to go. And as soon as they settled down, as soon as they said there's just 5 players on the other side of the floor, Kearney came back in, made it a game the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah, and part of his Northwest's identity previous to other years where it was just they could take each possession a different direction. And with this type of team, they like to get out on the fast break. They like to be able to move the ball on the wings, on the pressure with that. And then on offense, they like to take those quick shots into the shot clock that get players going. Trevor Hudgens hits 1 or 2 threes. He's on fire. He's ready to go. Diego Bernard, with the athleticism that he has, he gets a dunk or something inside the paint, and one even. That gets the crowd involved too. Ryan Hawkins, a similar situation with him as well. Whenever the other teams start to play their brand of basketball, they take time off the shot clock. They start to get the shots that they want instead of having to settle for what Northwest gives them. That's when these teams kind of stick around for a little bit in the MIAA, and that's kind of what happened with Kearney a little bit later into the first half, and that's what's kind of started that run.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Kickoff. You're on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinik, Nolan Brooks, Austin McNorton with you. And, sorry guys, Andrew, we now get to talk about it. We did it for an hour straight on Monday. We'll keep it tame, 20 minutes, maybe less today. But the Chiefs are in a Super Bowl.
I did it yesterday too for a while, so they finally did it.
There's another week before the game, so don't worry. Monday, Thursday, and again on Friday we'll talk about it. So there'll be plenty of time. It is the Super Bowl, so there is reasons to talk about it. But the Chiefs have made it. 50 years since their only Super Bowl win. I'm kind of glad it wasn't against the Packers because I think the 49ers will, for the sake of the NFL, produce a much better Super Bowl than was 1 year ago. Because we all know Super Bowl last year, not great. I think this matchup, I think it's a great matchup between two teams that play very different styles of football. You have a team that 1 week ago against the Packers decided they were just going to run the football the entire game. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do a thing, but they ran it very differently than the way the Titans try to run the football with Derrick Henry. And now the Chiefs have to figure out how to deal with that on the defensive side, and we're already seeing and hearing some interesting quotes about the 49ers defensive staff and their perspective on the Chiefs offense.
And part of me hopes that I think this will be a better Super Bowl on paper when you look at the two teams, but part of me also hopes that it's not like how the 2014 Super Bowl was, where it was the Broncos who had the number 1 offense and then the Seahawks who had the number 1 defense. because that game was not fun to watch. I know the Seahawks offense was obviously a lot better than at that point Denver's defense.
I think I looked it up, and the Seahawks offense, at least scoring-wise, was number 1 in the NFL
that season.
Because
I know for
a lot of it defensive, but
I know for a fact that that year's Denver team had broke the record for most yards in a season.
Yeah, I think Denver was yardage-wise, but because of the Seahawks defense, short field, all of that, scoring-wise, the Seahawks are scoring the most points in the NFL. And so you look back at that, and I know it's like offense versus defense. You get that again here. You get a really good defense and a really good offense, and you're matched up. Well, defense always wins, except you got to remember what the Chiefs' defense has been doing since basically midway through the season. You've got a pretty darn good defense on the Chiefs side too.
Yeah, and I'm not overhyping that. I'm just hoping that the media doesn't overhype that.
Oh, they will. Don't worry.
We talked yesterday on Day-to-Day Picks. We always do a top 5 list, and yesterday our top 5 list was top 5 anticlimactic moments in sports, and I think everybody across the board had that Super Bowl.
That's
got
to be on there. Yeah.
I think Brady and Sam and I both had it at number 1.
Wow.
I still think a punter should have gotten the MVP from last year's Super Bowl.
Brady had last year's Super Bowl on his list too, so I can agree that one was very anticlimactic as a fan because midway through the second quarter, I think everybody kind of started to stop watching.
I mean, obviously you would have liked to have seen Mahomes versus Rodgers. That would have been a fun storyline.
The State Farm Bowl.
The State Farm Bowl, the rematch of Super Bowl I on the 100-year anniversary, all that kind of stuff. But this definitely produces a better game, I think. I've thought that the 49ers have been a very well-coached, very well-balanced team kind of all season long, whereas the Chiefs just have explosive playmakers at every facet of the game. So it becomes really interesting in that respect, but I think it's a big matchup between the two coaches in this game. Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan trying to eliminate the mark on his career, blowing the 28-3 lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl while he was the head offensive coordinator for the Falcons. Andy Reid never winning a Super Bowl. So obviously there's a lot going into that. Both very smart in their offensive game plans, but both know how to get the best out of their players, no matter what side of the ball it's on. So that's the most intriguing part to me.
I agree. Coaches, it might be the biggest storyline, but maybe the defensive coordinators. Because Shanahan, Reid, offensive guys, offense, you look at Shanahan, he'll do there's going to be some things done in this game that were put into the playbook in these 2 weeks. They're being put in right now. It's the defensive side of the ball. It's what is Spagnuolo going to do for the Chiefs to try to do similar to what they did with the Titans, force Garoppolo to win the game, because if you're the Chiefs and you want Garoppolo and you force Jimmy Garoppolo to win the game, he's not going to do it against Patrick Mahomes. That is best case scenario for Kansas City, is they can't hand the ball off to one of their many playmakers, because like the Chiefs, they've got some really fast guys. They've got some good playmakers, some good skill position guys. If they can get the ball in Garoppolo's hands, you're winning the game with Mahomes. And then on the other side, for Robert Saleh, how do you stop the Chiefs? You've got to figure out a way to allow your offense. You're not going to completely stop the Chiefs. You have to slow them down. You can't get taken out of your game plan like the Titans were. The Titans got out of their game plan offensively, and if you're the Chiefs and you force the 49ers to get out of it, you've won the game. So if you're Saleh for the 49ers, how do you contain the Chiefs enough to allow your offense to function the way you've game planned for the last 2 weeks?
And he's given high praise to this Chiefs offense. I don't know if you saw the quote earlier from him saying that essentially the Chiefs just went through the USA's Olympic relay team and just took all of those players and put them out on the football field. That's kind of how a lot of teams have been looking at this Chiefs team, but I like what you're saying for Spagnuolo on defense. Jimmy Garoppolo will not win the 49ers this game. It cannot be solely on him, because his playoff experience up until this season was sitting behind Tom Brady.
Actions. These guys might be off their rockers.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Kickoff here on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinik just came back from his break. Austin McNorton, Nolan Brooks, And it's that time of the show where we say some crazy things. It's Off My Rocker. It's been a while. Had break. Kind of had an abbreviated version last week, and our weather shortened show got delayed. But now we've got the full
Shockingly,
Off
it's
My
not snowing
Rocker.
right now.
It's been snowing all week.
For 3 straight days, it's been snowing.
We can rejoice. It's done.
It probably will snow tomorrow or
It
tonight.
probably
I would
will.
say that, so. Literally, it's more
I
surprising.
have to drive tonight.
It's
I do
more
too.
surprising to
Stop.
walk outside and it not be snowing than for you to walk outside and it is
See, it's
snowing at this point.
how quickly that all changed. Because before break, it was actually tame, and then we get back, and it's just, nope.
It's Maryville.
Walk through 5 inches of slush. How many times I've walked to class, and from the time I got to my car, within the first 10 steps, my just feet were completely soaked.
I should have brought my snow boots back. I'm so sad that I forgot them. And my winter coat. And my gloves.
I just wish I remembered to put them on.
I just thought that I would have gotten a little more of a break before entering into the blizzard. And coming back to school, I should have known.
If you're wondering Austin and I's opinion on winter, we don't like it. We want it to be over. If you like winter, I'm sorry.
And the other problem is, this snow is probably not going to melt until
Somebody's
March.
mad.
Until March. That's the other thing.
Andrew, do you like
we
winter?
Austin's office.
I drive a
rocker.
3000 GT that's front wheel drive.
No, you don't.
No, I do not.
It's a factor.
But it's time for Off My Rocker.
Austin's office rocker is that
Who
it will
should we
snow
start
another
with here?
2 feet.
Who should we start with? You look ready to go, Austin.
I mean, I can go first.
Let's do it.
We already kind of hinted at it a little bit when Noah was in the room about the Rookie of the Year conversation. I think Zion wins it slam dunk. It's not close. Noah was saying that John Morant has it already locked up. But Zion Williamson's three-point shooting ability has increased substantially already because of the injury. It's all he's been able to do is shoot, and we saw that the other night.
No one was guarding him.
Right, because no one expected him to be able to shoot. Now he can shoot, and then once he becomes 100% and he's able to do all of the athletic beast things that he did in college, he wins Rookie of the Year.
My man took 1 more 3 than he did in college, and he's a freaking dead-eye 3-point shooter, I guess.
He's Rookie of the Year.
It's the media that votes for Rookie of the Year, right?
It is.
Spurs won that game, folks.
That, yes.
The Spurs still won.
Right.
Yes.
Would they have won if he stayed in the game, though?
In,
No.
in no statistical category, by the end of the season, will Zion Williamson be
I think
the
it'll be
Rookie
close.
of the Year?
I think it'll be close, but
And yet he'll win.
Yep.
I agree with you.
I think so.
He will win just because
people would rather see him win it
than
than
Ja.
That sucks.
I'll say you're not off your rocker just because it's between those two people. If you would have said anybody else, I would have said yes, but it's 50-50 for those guys to win it at this point. And I think I don't think you're right in saying that he'll win it, but you're not off your rocker by saying that he will win it, if that makes sense.
Here's my take on
it
this.
does.
You should be off your rocker.
Right.
You should be. But because of the way the
I
voting
think
will
John
work, you're
Morant's
not.
played a far better season this year, but I think Zion will
But
win.
you're not.
You better play better when you've played half a season and he's played 1.
Exactly. That's true.
But here we are.
Who's next?
I think Nolan and I have reserved 3rd and 4th place
Okay, I'll
respectively.
go. So I've mentioned this a couple times. So we're actually going during the college basketball talk of the way to select things. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to pick my national champion.
The Kansas
Wow.
City Chiefs.
Basically, take. Yes, they will win.
Yes.
So I've taken
Texas Tech.
Patrick
Just for Patrick
Mahomes
I've
go back
taken
for his degree. and play
every
for Texas
team
Tech.
that is at least receiving votes in the AP poll. We're going to randomly generate a number here,
All right.
and we're going to pick the national champion.
Wait, what's the range?
Is it 1 to 25?
Yeah,
It's
you're
1 to
picking-
any team that has a vote.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So that's like 40 almost.
yeah.
That's really interesting. I picked 34. That is the Liberty Flames. There's your national champion.
Wow.
Yeah, off your rocker.
They win on mascot
Yeah, you're off your
matchup.
rocker,
They win the mascot bracket quite often.
They
I feel
do.
Like,
They
so.
went
They
far,
do.
but I don't think they beat out the
I think of the way that I was trying to do this. That was like the worst random number I could have generated. But
Probably.
that's what we're doing.
Liberty. Wow.
Liberty.
No.
Nope.
I think even that one.
It's
It's
been, a
safe.
crazy,
Even that
it's
one.
been a crazy season,
Excuse me.
but
Elite 8, Sweet 16. Yes.
Let's
yes,
think about
Yes.
this.
Yes, I see that.
Jacob didn't come up with that number. Google did.
Google did.
Google is off.
Google,
its
you're
rocker.
off your
You're off your rocker, buddy.
Yes.
But
Sorry.
I did that to prove my point of, and it didn't really help me because it landed
No.
on Liberty. But I mean, for
Do
the
it
fun
again.
of it,
Do
do it
another-
again.
yes.
Do
What
it
you
again.
could have done is you could have just tapped it again and just not
Well,
told
see,
us.
I was trying to be completely 100% honest. Like, I didn't want to end up with what just happened, and that's Gonzaga.
That's
Just
fair.
reasonable.
That's fair.
I drew
Which is-
two.
You're not off your rocker anymore.
Okay.
Sat back down.
Sam, I know you're listening. That's fair.
Sam
Set back
also
down.
said that you're off your rocker
for
the
Zion.
John Morant.
See, we just drew another one. Seton Hall.
I could.
That's
You
plausible.
know what, let's
see that
land on
happen.
that one right there. Seton Hall is my national champion.
That's a good in between.
It took 3 tries. Seton Hall is the national champion.
According to Google, I see,
You're off your rocker.
and I
According to
wouldn't
Google.
tell you that you're off your rocker just because I have no idea.
I think you're on the edge, like of falling off.
Watch Liberty go win the national championship now.
That would be awesome. That
It
would
would
be one of
be.
the greatest.
I've
March
been
Madnesses
wanting
of all
I've been
time.
wanting a mid major to go on a run and actually win the title. Like, don't just make the Final Four. Go get it done.
Because
Go win the title.
does Gonzaga?
No,
or
they don't
go-
count.
Right. That's true.
I don't count Villanova or Gonzaga. Like, when Butler almost did it, that would have counted because no one really knew about Butler then. But or when Wichita,
when UConn did it the same game, does that count for you then?
They were a
No.
9 seed.
because at that point UConn, it was still the. Was it the American? So was it the American? I think the Big East was still together, and that was basically a Power 5.
That's fair.
So I'm talking
is
about
the
like
case.
the first run from Wichita State where they made the Final Four out of
But they didn't go
nowhere
win
and then
it.
didn't go win
Right.
it. You look at Loyola. You look at Loyola. Go win it. Don't just make the Final Four. Go win it. I want to see that. So maybe we'll stick with Liberty and maybe they'll be the team to do it. This is the best year probably.
Okay, Google.
Andrew.
So I got one. I'm going to the NFL. Phillip Rivers has recently permanently moved out of San Diego and moved to Florida. Here's where it starts. It's kind of a domino effect now that he's moved to Florida.
I kind of see where this is going.
Bruce Arians gives him a call. Says Jameis Winston just threw 30 and 30. He's off the team. We want you. Phillip Rivers goes to play in Tampa Bay, wins the division because Drew Brees will have retired, and they will make the playoffs.
Wow. There's like 3-1 right there. That's like.
But all together,
Wow.
that's where it makes the most sense. So he will sign to Tampa Bay. Drew Brees will retire, and Phillip Rivers will win the division because he doesn't have to play Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say.
I don't. Yeah.
Like
First, Drew
yes.
Brees isn't retiring.
2, Jameis Winston already, they reported from Tampa Bay he's going to be back for next
3, you're off your rocker.
I think Phillip Rivers is retiring, and if all of that comes true,
The most true one is the
the
Phillip
Falcons are
Rivers
winning
one.
the division.
That's probably true. That's probably likely.
Like,
I thought you
If-
were going to
if
say
all of
like,
that were to
Phillip goes
happen-
to Miami.
That'd be
No.
the greatest. If you call that right, that like
to
oh
me-
my
Tampa
gosh.
Bay is the number 1 team to get him right now. Just a fact.
he's retiring. He's retiring.
I think so too, but just for off my rocker, bring that in there.
That to me was on par with Nolan's John Morant take.
Hey, I'm just saying the Grizzlies are making the playoff push.
They're making a
They're
push,
in the
all right.
9 seed.
They're
I'm
making
just
a
saying.
push.
They are.
I'm just saying.
They're number 9 right now. That's true.
Okay, Nolan.
I was. Oh Lord, Sam in the group chat. Somebody mute him.
What are we all?
Natty champs?
Said Zag's Natty Champs all caps with
I'm glad he's watching
3
or
exclamation
listening. One of the
points.
two.
Nolan, you're off my rocker. D'Souza round 2.
You know what? I'll run with it. No, I'm not
He
gonna
doesn't
do
get
that.
to
No,
play.
I'm
He
not
doesn't
Yeah.
get to play on that February 29th.
I'm not gonna do that. That would be awful. Off my
bet
rocker.
he
Silvio
doesn't-
D'Souza lands 3 punches this time.
I bet he doesn't even.
The
make
chair
that
doesn't
trip.
get taken out of
No.
his hand.
I'm betting he's not on the bus to that game.
No.
No. I don't really I was so confused on what to do for this. Mike McCarthy will win Coach of the Year and the Dallas Cowboys make their Super Bowl run next year. There you go.
Gosh, please be right.
Like, are you saying run
Please
as if
be right.
run as in they
Win it.
they
They
Whoa.
win.
Super Bowl champs 2021. Mike McCarthy, Coach of the Year.
You know what's really unfortunate about that statement? You just fell into the most stereotypical Dallas Cowboys fan
I don't
statement
care.
of all time.
I don't care.
We
That's
missed the
why
playoffs.
it's off my
we
rocker.
go 8-8. Boy, next year we're winning the Super Bowl, baby. Woo!
Listen to me. That's
Hey.
why it's called off my rocker.
Just make the playoffs
Please
first.
be right.
Jacob Mike
Nolan,
2.
I'm going to say you're not off
In case
your
you're
rocker.
in case you're curious, Mike 2 is Nolan's.
I'm not going to say you're off your rocker because I hope
Of course not.
I hope he's right.
Of course
That's why
not.
I'm not going to say it.
This is part of my
Okay.
take where I get muted for 10 seconds
No,
and I don't
here's-
get any points.
Okay. Win the Super Bowl completely off your rocker. Make the Super Bowl off your rocker. Make the playoffs
Doable.
probably. Lose first game of the playoffs probably.